Hey, this is Jeff Carlson. I'm a writer and photographer and author most recently of the book The Photographer's Guide to Luminar 4, published by Rocky Nook. I'm here to do a quick edit on a photo that I took a few years ago. Right now is the time of year when you go up to the Skagit Valley north of Seattle and check out all the tulip fields, but because of COVID-19, we're not able to do that. So I thought I'd go into my archive and redo one of the photos that I took from there. So the picture you're looking at now is the end result. Let's go back to the beginning and see how we got there. This is the original. As you can tell, it needs quite a bit of work. It's underexposed because I didn't want to blow out the highlights. Actually, it's even more underexposed than it really should be. And the alignment's a little bit off, and obviously there's like not much going on here. However, there's a lot of image data in that photo that we can pull out using Luminar's tools. So let's do that real quick. First thing I want to try is AI Enhance. I pretty typically hit AI Enhance on everything just to see what it wants to do, what the algorithm, what the application wants to do with this picture. And if I increase AI Accent, hey, that's already quite a bit better. But it's not great. We'll do some AI Sky Enhancer just to see. Yeah, it's fine. It doesn't quite get us there, partially because this is a photo that's starting off really dark. Now, normally, I probably wouldn't even think to work with this image, but I really like some things about it. I like the sky. I like the moodiness of it. I like the reflection in the water there. So, AI Enhance oftentimes will get you almost all the way there. This time, let's try something different. So instead, I'm going to go into the light control and open advanced settings. I'm going to go straight for whites. And because it's really dark, we're going to increase the shadows. Now that's going to do quite a lot. Now you might be asking yourself, Jeff, why didn't you just go to the exposure? Well, when we do exposure, look at that sky. It's just blowing everything out. It's blasting light through the whole image. I don't really want that. So if I reset that, I'm going to increase our whites a bit. I prefer to start with a whites and blacks adjustment and then build up from there. So whites helps a bit. Shadows is going to do most of the heavy lifting here. And I'm going to reduce the highlights just a little bit, because what we don't want to have happen is we don't want that bit of sky to just blow out. That is a pretty decent start. So now let's take a look at these flowers. These flowers are a bit muted because obviously it's a cloudy morning. This was a morning that I actually didn't think we'd get very much because the clouds were so heavy. But, you know, you have to go, you have to shoot, you have to see what you can get. So in this case, what I want to do is I want to punch up the yellows there. And to do that, I'm going to go to the color control. And again, go to advanced settings. And I'm just going to punch up the saturation a tiny bit. Saturation can be really, really overplayed if you give it too much. If we do this, it's kind of interesting, but it's just not what we're looking for. Double click to reset that saturation. So I'm going to increase this a little bit. And what we really want to focus on are those yellows. So we're going to go to the yellow channel here and push the luminance of the yellows. Now this already is making a big difference. I'm going to increase the saturation just a little bit on there. Now we don't want it to look unrealistic, but I think this is a pretty good balance. If we go too much, then it just doesn't work. There's too much yellow given the conditions. So I'm going to pull that back just a little bit. But obviously the yellow is what our eyes are going to be drawn to. This is what's going to really sell this image. Now let's turn our attention to the sky for a minute. One of my favorite methods of bringing out interesting color in the sky, as you saw when we did AI Enhance, there was the AI Sky Enhancer, and that kind of helped. But I want to go to the Pro tool and go to Advanced Contrast. Advanced Contrast lets you work just in the highlights or the midtones or the shadows. And by increasing the highlights contrast, what this is doing is it is giving us more definition in the sky. But look how it's bringing out the yellows and the hints of orange right there where the sun is trying to break through. I really like how that works out. And I find that hitting highlights contrast for a sky is often the right balance of giving it some more attention without either making it too dark or too contrasty or too bright. Let's see, I'm going to go back now to the Essential Tools and go back to light. I want to add a little bit of smart contrast. The smartness of the contrast means it's actually not just trying to increase contrast between pixels, it's doing some algorithmic analysis of what this looks like so that basically you're not getting a really harsh result, which is nice. I'm going to bring my blacks down just a little bit. Now, if we take a quick before and after, already this is a hugely better picture. I like it quite a lot more. So, what else can we do to this? I'm going to crop it in a few minutes, but one of the things that I want to touch on here is a little AI structure. In other applications, you'll have a clarity slider, and that enhances local contrast. The AI structure is kind of the equivalent of that. If we crank it up way high, of course, that's too dramatic. I just want to give it a little bit of structure here. All right. The last thing I want to do here, one of the last things I want to do here, is I want to work on this reflection. The reflection in the water here is part of what drew me to this image in the first place. Now, I just want to work on that one area. So in order to do that, I'm going to create a new adjustment layer. So I go up here to the Layers panel. I say Add New Adjustment Layer. So an adjustment layer allows me to apply all of the tools in Luminar on a separate layer. So I can stack different effects on top of each other. In this case, what I want to do is I want to go back to the light controls, and I want to, again, bring up the whites a little bit. I think I want to increase the temperature just a little bit. Now you notice this is affecting the entire image, but we're going to fix that in just a second with a mask. I'm going to reduce the blacks a little bit because that's just what I seem to want to do. I'm going to go to color. And with color here, I'm going to increase the saturation. And I'm really only looking at this area down here where the reflection is, because I want that to pop. I want that to be a little bit more noticeable. Now, everything else is oversaturated. So what we're going to do up here in our layers panel, we're going to say Edit Mask, go to our brush, and by saying Paint, just going to paint over that area right there. And paint over this area right there. These reflections, just pull a little bit more color out of the sky. Now looking at this now, it doesn't quite match the sky right there. But because this is on an adjustment layer, I can go back and change those things. Like I think the temperature increase is not helping me. But in this case, I can continue to make all sorts of other edits, and because I have a mask on just that layer, I'm going to apply those edits just to the sections that show through the mask. So I kind of want to give that a little bit of oomph. I want to give it just a little bit more color, a little more saturation, a little more vibrance. And I think that's pretty good. Let's do a quick before and after. Can't tell the difference, right? All right. Last thing I want to do is I want to crop this because it's a little asymmetrical. This type of perspective shot really benefits from a symmetrical composition. So I'm going to click on the crop tool and just bring this in so that our vanishing point is right in the middle. And I think I'm going to unlock this and just open this up to more of the sky. If I wanted to set a specific aspect ratio, I could do that, but we're just being creative here, and I'm going to leave that like this. Say done. And now we have, over the course of about 10 minutes, 11 minutes, we've taken this photo from here to here in Luminar. Oh, and one more thing. If you want to buy my book from rockynook.com, use the code Carlson40, C-A-R-L-S-O-N 40, and you can get 40% off. The book is currently available as an ebook, and the print version is coming. I got my author copy of the print version just the other day, and it looks fantastic. Hope you enjoyed this. Send me some comments, Jeff@jeffcarlson.com if you have questions, and do this again.